Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. It's just me and Jerry today, so maybe there will be less talking over the top of each other. I don't know.
How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah. You want to go ahead and run down who's in chat, or you want me to? It doesn't matter to me.
I'll run down who I see.
Okay.
CDP Chuck. Chuck, how you doing? Are you home yet? That's the burning question. Floyd Robbins, Grandpa Rails, Lynn McCurdy, Michael McCarville, Ray Bertelstein, Rob T-Man, RDNT, Randy, I think that is, Sparky, Steve Train, Waybills, Steve 87, PSAP, and Wigwag. Digger Evans was here earlier, but I don't see him in chat. And that is it so far.
All right. Is that it?
That's Mower Man? Yeah. That's all I see. Yeah.
Okay.
Gerald,
so you were talking earlier, I guess. Do what?
Did I say Gerald Stewart? I see him pop. So the participant list doesn't if you don't talk or chat, you're not on the participant list. Right? So I can't acknowledge you. Even if you came here 10 minutes ago, you're off the participant list. What's up, Container Man? Container Man, I like you sometimes.
Yeah.
Who popped in that I didn't see? Somebody else popped in, but we'll come to it. Randy Doman. Chuck, are you home? Did I miss that? Anyway, what's up? What's going on?
Well, I've been working on two different projects. I've got the bridge that I've been working on, and it's one of those things where I don't know how many other people may or may not have experienced this, but if you begin the process of something and it's not going the way you want it to go, you're just always better off to walk away. I would say I've done that 3 different times with the bridge, and I think I'm finally at a point to where I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I think it's going to turn out pretty good. So, I started with this, which was just an idea. Can I do it with the material? Will the material represent well? And then that transitioned into this, which I don't know. I guess I could.
Yeah, make yourself bigger. Yeah. Can you hold up the first one next to that one?
Sure. Not much difference other than this one. You build 2 of these.
So that's just a flat. Okay.
And then you overlap them because they're.
All right.
Let me show you. Which I don't know. Did I discuss any of this last week at all? I can't remember, but I'm using.
Yeah, that one. That's that micro engineering.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but what I didn't like about this are these plates.
Those big plates. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I think what's going to happen, if I can find one, what I'm using this lattice work right here to overlay this,
right?
But the length doesn't work for the plates,
right?
And now I'm like, well, why in the world don't you just cut these damn plates off and put them on here just like you are the lattice work, and then make the lattice work the correct length that it needs to be. Right. So I think I know exactly what I'm going to do now, and so therefore it's just a matter of mass producing the A-frames, the bents themselves, and getting it done. And I think I need 8 of them. I think 10 at the most. So
that's not too bad. Yeah.
And then the other thing that I've been doing is I've been doing bench work and track work in cloud. I kind of, when I needed to walk away from this, I would go and kind of work over there and let my mind meld around what I needed to do here. And I've also got the family reunion this coming Saturday, and I want to be able to run a train continuously, or at least make one full loop and only have to throw one switch to make it run continuously. So I'm almost there. I should be finished with that aspect of what I'm doing right now before the end of the weekend.
Question for Dennis about his bench work. Will the legs or braces between the decks be removed in the future?
Will the legs or braces between the decks?
See how?
Oh, you mean back here?
Yeah.
No. I have considered going in with like rebar instead of the big wood legs. I think I could do that. That would be a little low key, but and there might be a way that I could do it and remove them completely. I haven't. There's a way that I could do that. I haven't really fully developed that idea yet, but that would come at the same time the fascia comes if I do it that way. I think I could support the outside with fascia and do it a little differently than I am now. But I think there's going to have to be support underneath there somewhere.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You just haven't spent your time.
Yeah, which that was never supposed to be a finished portion of the railroad anyway. So what have you been working on, Jerry? Have you got, I think you said something about you was doing some kits.
Yeah, so I've been building some Acura hopper kits. I like these kits. Okay. My local train store had them, and I went over and got like 5 of them. So this is how they start out, just a 2-bay. They're nice kits, and what I like about them is everything comes separate. So like normally, right, if you bought one of these together, they're all together, and it's hard to weather inside in the ends, so you could do all your work this as the sprue, right? Do all your detailing and then put it in, and they go in really easy. They're nice to build, and I think that's one of the things I like about them. They're easy to build, and you could, if you want to detail and weather, you could do that and not have to get around all that stuff.
Yeah.
All the ladder work.
Have you completed one yet that you've done that on?
So I completed 2.
Ooh.
And yeah, so I don't know if I'm like done. So it's got metal wheels and KD couplers, and I just got these the reflective stripes, and
it's nice.
Yeah, it came out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Smokebox graphics. It wouldn't apply to you, Dennis, because they don't have anything in your error. But
right.
They make these stripes. They're reflective, and these are adhesive. So they're not water transfer, right? They're adhesive.
Dry transfer or sticky transfer?
These are adhesive. I don't. You like a sticker. You don't use no water at all. They're just. They're actually probably real reflective striping because it's reflective, right? And they just cut them down into all these different little sizes that you would use, and then they have like a little instruction guide how they apply to the car, and if you want to get that technical. And I just went from some photos from railroad archives, and that's what I used, and they're easy to put on, and they're $4 for these. There's quite a bit, and that goes to say with Smokebox Graphics, they make nice stuff. I do have dry transfers. These are like their dry transfer or water slides. They call them water slides. And this is just some patch out stuff. And there's a whole card.
Nice.
And $5. I mean, like they're way cheaper than micro scale, I think it is.
Are they as thin as any other decal? Because that sometimes, the quality of the decal itself sometimes matters.
Yeah.
But
In fairness, I haven't applied these yet.
okay.
They look pretty thin, so I don't think that these are going to be like as did Heath's car, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes on the bigger portions of Heath's railroad, and I'm not busting, it's not Heath's fault. It's the sticker people's thing, right? They're thicker, so
Right.
they look like they're applied. They don't blend in like a typical car would blend in, because they're not the same, right? These look thin, but again, I haven't applied them, so I don't know.
That kind of goes into a whole nother topic of discussion. What's your process for applying the decal?
Yeah, so like for me, when I did Heath's car, that was the first car I ever did. I never did.
Did you clear coat it?
So yeah, so like my go-to person when I do things like this is John 2618.
Okay.
Right, because John's done tons of them. So he is my go-to person. He told me about Smokebox. He's my go-to person. Everybody's got a guy. He's my guy. And so yeah, so he's like, first, high gloss it, right, so that you can move the decal around, decal decal. So yeah, so that's what I did. Once I did everything, painted everything, and then I glossed where I was going to put I didn't gloss everything. I glossed where I was going to put the decals, the bigger decals. The little ones, I figured they would be okay, but it's the big one that might wrinkle and stuff. So yeah, gloss them and then go over them with a Q-tip to burnish them in and get them conformed. And then I think I used microsol or micro something, and that helped it go over everything, all the contours of the car.
Yeah.
And they came out good. I mean, for my first time doing it, I think
I thought I had Heath's car right here next to me, but I guess I put it up somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know where it is to go look for it. I didn't think we'd be talking about this, or I would have prepared a little better. But microset, yeah, one of them. I don't know which.
But then after you're finished, then
I dull
coat it multiple times to make the decal disappear.
I didn't do multiple times, but maybe I should. But like,
I think that is a strategy. Yeah.
On the big one, I guess it's RT one, you can kind of see the edges, and I did my best to cut it out, close to the lettering as I could. Maybe I could do better the next time. But in all fairness, I mean, you can't 3 feet away. You can't tell. It's only when you're like here looking at it and you're like, oh man, that looks horrible, right? It's like,
see, it's a particular
out there,
right. It's a particular challenge for my era because all of my cars are wood. So after you apply the decal, you have to go back in and cut the decal with the wood.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then hope that the decal will recess into the wood. If you don't, then you end up with this huge area between the wood laths
Yeah.
that then immediately glosses over and reflects light terribly. And that's the biggest challenge that I have with decals, which if you have a really sharp number 11 blade, you can do it. And then it's, again, going in with something and kind of forcing it into the recesses of the wood.
Yeah. So Lynn McCurdy brings up a good thing. We all do better as we do something over and over. And that's the thing.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, listen, if you do something in this hobby and you're not happy with how it turned out, don't stop. Keep doing it. But get better, right? Challenge yourself to keep getting better. Look at people's layouts, look at references, reference photos, blah, 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 right? But don't stop. Like, it's easy to say, I suck at this, right? And be done.
Yeah.
Right? After one time, it's easy, right? It's easy, right? But you just got to keep going. Like, you just, this is what my first one looks like. This is what my 10th one looks like. And this
disagree, Steve. Sorry.
You don't need to cut it. That's what the Microsoft, they soften it.
Even after using the Microsol and Microset, it won't recess into the wood of my cars. Just wouldn't do it, because I definitely tried that.
Yeah. So, and at the same time, okay, everybody has their expectations for this hobby, right? Their expectations for what they're doing, and everybody's is different, right? I'll be truthful with you. I am a semi rivet counter. I'm not 100%, but I'm damn close to 75%. And this is just for me. I don't care what you're doing. But for me, like, if it's not 75%, then I'm not happy with it.
That I would say I'm kind of in that same category. I have my expectations, and if it doesn't meet my expectations, I won't be happy. But I think my expectations fall somewhere between rivet counting, if you use that term there's different ways to use the term, right? Some people think it's a derogative term towards a certain type of person within the hobby that looks for every little thing to ding you on because you didn't do it right or whatever. I don't engage with the term in that way. To me, the term just means someone who is particular and likes things to be prototypical and does not there's no derogatory aspect to it in my opinion, and it's a sliding scale, right?
I never heard of that term until Scale Trains came around and started calling their stuff rivet counters. I never heard of this term, rivet counter. What the heck's a rivet counter? And then Scale Trains came along, and then it's like, oh, okay, so there's a little more detail to it, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
They count Dennis's rivets. Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't count their own, but they count everybody else.
There's a lot of people that don't even have rivets, but will count yours. Yeah. We were talking a little bit about that before the show.
Yeah, so I'm curious. Steve Waybills said something about silicone stamps.
Yeah, I would like to know more about that. I saw that too.
What's that about?
Oh, wait. Yeah, number on with paint. Where did it go?
It's a little bit of
stamps. Yeah. Never heard of that before. Stamps. I guess you stamp the number on with paint. I wonder does that work in the smaller scales? It sounds like a larger scale technique, but I don't know.
Yeah, Jack says don't set expectations. Patience and timing is everything. I mean, to a point, but you got to set expectations for yourself for things. I mean, like, that's how you get better at things,
Well,
My opinion.
patience and timing is everything,
Yeah.
but I don't think patience and timing, in my opinion, doesn't exist without expectations, right?
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
have no expectations of what you're
Yeah.
wanting to do, you wouldn't need patience and timing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Like a rubber stamp, but I can make a 3D print of the decal, then cast it with silicone to stamp it. That sounds awesome. Is that, Steve? Is that something that that a particular company produces, or is that something you're doing as an individual project? That sounds pretty cool. That sounds like something. Sounds like a dry transfer type decal, but it's not a decal. It's actually paint. So that sounds pretty cool. Let's see what's Lynn say.
Give it a good look. Printing out on paper. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, Digger does that.
Well, I definitely do that on my buildings, but I've never attempted to do that on a car.
Yeah, because they're tiny, man. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that's tiny stuff, man.
It's base
I mean,
color.
listen. I mean, it's working for you, right? It might be. So here's one of the things we
We
talked
all
about.
had a laser etcher. That might be a good idea.
Yeah. So here's one of the things we talked about. Like your modeling or whatever you're doing is an escape from the BS that you deal with every day. It's like you don't mind doing all these extra steps to get to the end result, right? Because it's all just relaxation. If you're getting frustrated, man, you need
Right.
to walk away, right? So, I mean, you know, it takes you a little bit of effort, but you like the end result. Now, is there other ways that you can achieve the end result? Maybe. Who knows? I mean, but like you're getting so like be willing to change, but keep refining your process in anything you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And that goes to anything, anything.
Yeah. I was talking with the wife. Where well, yes, yesterday was our anniversary, and so we went and ate a steak that was way too expensive and a baked potato that was cold and didn't melt the butter. Never mind. But we were talking, and I can't remember exactly what the subject was precisely, but I mentioned that at this point in my life, at my age, because I think we were talking about young people and how sometimes it might take into your late 20s, early 30s to kind of figure out life, so to speak. And so I just mentioned that at this point in my life, I've never felt more fulfilled with what's going on in my life, and it specifically has to do with this model railroad because I have purpose every day, you know. So every time I come out here, there's a level of gratification because I've got something to look forward to. There's always something to do. I'm never bored, and then if I accomplish something, it just makes me feel good, and that's just cool.
I wonder, like Steve87 says, the Cricut machine to cut stencils. How fine can you cut with a Cricut machine? Do you think you could, like, I don't know, cut those little tiny numbers? Like, I mean, they're like, I don't know, 3/16. I don't know. I don't know, like, what your numbers are on for your older cars, if they're smaller, bigger. I don't know. Paint creep. Yeah. Paint creep. Yeah. Yeah. If everybody had a pad printer like they do at the where they build these cars, it'd be great.
Stencils, paint creep.
Yeah, like bleed. It
Right.
gets under the stencil. Yeah.
Which I'm not sure how, again, the cars I have all have that 3D
Printed
wood
wood.
lathing that makes stenciling even more particular. At least I think. I've never tried it, but
I think like I don't know. I can see like the process being even longer than what you're doing. Like prepping the surface so that you don't get any bleed. Like what would you do? Mask it? I don't know. I don't know. It's working for you, right? More than likely vinyl you get from Smokehouse could have been done with a Cricut machine. Could have, but I don't have a Cricut machine and I don't have the vinyl to do it. And then I would need to learn how to use the Cricut machine. There's processes. So like, if this was like $10, maybe I would think twice. It's $4, right? Like,
and there's a lot of cars there.
There's a lot of cars here. It's $4. Like you have to know when to cut your losses and like say, I'm going to pay for it versus I'm going to make it. Like, and it's like, yeah, you could sit there and stripe it with, but like, you can't do everything. I mean, but yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, and I think it would also depend on the scale at which you're going to be doing things, right? So if you're looking at 10 or 15 cars for your railroad,
right,
would it be worth it to go to the extra extent to do it? That's just like, fast tracks, building your own turnouts versus buying them. It just depends on how many you need as to whether or not one or the other makes more sense. I will build no less than one full train that is Otter Creek and Rio Grande to include a locomotive. I want at least one 10-car train that every car in the train has an OC and RG decal of some kind on it.
Right.
I wouldn't mind having the entire railroad that way. So, if I don't know how many cars I need for the railroad, but I'm guessing somewhere around 200, maybe more. I don't know. But if I wanted to actually achieve that, coming up with a stamp or the other processes we're talking about here might be worth it for me to invest a little bit of money into that.
Yeah.
Especially if the result is really good.
Yeah. So like, I mean, like you could get all them done by somebody. There's people out there, John 2618, he's here. There's people out there, John got somebody to make his stickers for his railroad or his decals, right? And so, you get a sheet of them and, you can do a bunch of cars depending on what you're doing. There's just no way you're going to get the Cricut to do stuff like that, man. Like,
right.
It's impossible. It's not doing it.
And those little bitty reporting marks there, extremely difficult when you're trying to put them on a wood car.
Like the side isn't bad, right? The side isn't bad. It's the end numbers, the end, you can't even see them, right? They're tiny as could be, right?
Yeah.
Try doing them. Like John says, you pay me now, pay me later. What's your time worth? I could be doing something else, or I could be playing with my Cricut machine. I mean,
right. Well, and that's kind of talking about that whole process for me.
Some people are just going to do this and that's it, right? Build the kit and that's it. They're not going to spend their time to do this. And there's a lot of time to do this, right? this is what I choose to spend my time doing.
Yeah, the results are worth it though for
Yeah,
you.
I mean, for me, and it's all just about me. It's not about anybody else. I mean,
right. So
and one of the things somebody had said, I can't remember who, the stickers are a little thick. So these are a little thick. And one of the things that they suggest you do is to spray on a couple coats of dull coat to kind of blend them in a little better. Right. So you could do that. You know.
Yeah.
What did you pop up there?
Michael's comment about Blackstone cars. They're outrageous.
Yeah.
Luckily, I got all mine before. I don't say I got all of them, but I have been very particular about at what price point I buy them. Most of them I got for 60 or less.
Yeah, Jack says just go for the road name, and that's fine, and the number, that's fine. But what if you want to change it? What if you want something different? Like, you know, I don't know. There's different levels for everybody, right? I mean, you could just plop down track on your rug and run trains and be happy. Or you could go to the highest level of detailing and be happy, and everything in between. It's like there's no right, there's no wrong. There's like there's a lot of people that say, I'm afraid to do weathering. There's no right and there's no wrong. The only thing, there's like, don't be afraid. You can't screw it up. There's no like, go look at pictures, go look at the rail cars. There's no right, there's no wrong. They're like, just when you think it looks horrible, you see something that's even worse.
Yeah, in my opinion, the safest way to do weathering on a car is go to a train show, go get something that is in a cardboard box for, $5 for $10 or whatever, something along those lines. You could even start with N scale, right? If you're an HO guy and you don't want to spend any money to screw up a car, go get a couple of N-scale cars for next to nothing and begin there.
Yeah.
And get over your fear, and then do the same thing with an HO car. And you'll develop the skill that you'll lose the fear pretty quick if you do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with being a modeler. Just have fun.
Yeah.
And model, do it. That's it. Just try it, do it. Nathan and myself, in November, we're going to go operate a little tiny steam engine out there in Pennsylvania called Pioneer Tunnel. It's a little coal narrow gauge steam engine. And Nathan told me about it, and I got my tickets, and Nathan's going to go. We're going to go together. So
you're actually going to get to drive the locomotive?
Yeah, it's not huge. It's not like, it's a little like, I don't know, 040 something. It's a little like tank engine. Yeah.
It'll still be cool.
Oh yeah, it's going to be cool. $75, half an hour. I mean, it's all for a good cause. It's not like they're restoring another one, so it's not like, and they're a nonprofit, and they're not making tons of money. Guarantee it, but it'll be fun. It's like, hey, where can you do that? I'm involved with the trolley cars in the streetcar museum, and we have operator for a day, and you can come out 25, 30, $35, and you can operate trolleys. Where can you operate trolleys? All different eras, from the 1800s to more modern ones. It's like it's fun, where can you do that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Jerry, those vinyls that you have in real life will actually have depth to them. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but there's in real life they do have depth to them. I think these have a little too much depth to them for scale, but that's okay. It's what they are, Again, from a distance, they look great. if you just sit there and like, oh man, that looks really thick. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Dwayne did it. Dwayne came out to the trolley museum, and he got to operate a couple trolleys, and he had fun. Got to do something that not a lot of people get to do. Yeah.
See you later, Mike.
See you, Michael. Enjoy your bacon. Hope it's not burnt. But yeah, it's all good. That's it. Yeah. So
Talking about whether or not, like the decals, that also one of the things that I have thought about and thought about and thought about with all of the structures that I need to build, should I look into getting a laser cutting machine?
yeah.
And that's one of the things I haven't done yet is do a cost comparison to, like, for one, I know that most of what I'm going to do is going to be scratch built anyway. So would I save money by buying material for a laser cutter and the laser cutter in the long run, or would they offset each other and it would be 6 1 half dozen of the other, and the only thing the laser cutter would do for me would there would be a long build up in learning the program to create what it is you're trying to cut.
Yeah, I think if you're good at computers and designing and things like that, then yeah, maybe that might be your avenue. But if you're doing it and you got to learn all this to get this, you got to weigh the difference. Like,
yeah, if you already had a background in either
CAD or something, or
right, which the only interface I've ever had with CAD is my little Empire Express thing, and then of course it kind of equates as editing video and also music.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I'm not good with computers, so like I know it's not in my wheelhouse. Like, just like it's going to just frustrate you, just like that damn 3D printer over there that frustrates the hell out of me. And it's like, maybe one day I'll pick it back up, but right now
I've got one the wife got for me several years ago that's still in the box. I will get it out eventually and begin to make use of it, but it's something I've known that I don't. There's no reason for me to do it at this point because the railroad doesn't need a bunch of 3D detail parts. It needs track and it needs bench work. So I'm getting close to having all of the track work completed. I think, knock on wood, the track will all be completed by the end of next year.
Right.
And then I will move into possibly needing to print things like bridge bents. I guess you could argue.
Why do they call them bents?
That's what they're called. I couldn't tell you why.
Why bents? Like, they don't look like they're bent to me. It's a weird term.
I don't know. I guess we could have someone in chat, ask a computer machine somewhere what the history of the word bridge bent, where it comes from, but that's just what they call them.
I wonder if they call them that in real life.
Yeah, I think that's where the term comes from, right?
I don't know.
Unless I'm really mistaken, but
I don't know. Hey, Joe Raider, what's up?
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm going to attempt clouds today for my layout.
Attempt clouds?
Yeah, doing clouds. I found somebody's video.
Yeah, who's your go-to authority on that?
It's just some video.
Did you stop at your first one, or have you?
No. I've looked at a bunch, tried some. Like one guy, Midland Sean is his name. I think he's in Canada, Midland something, Midland and Dorchester. I can't remember.
Oh, so you're
And
going to model railroad channels to learn how to do clouds?
well, yeah, I'm just going to other people that have done them, right? I'm just looking at like what I what looks easy because I don't want to sit there and like have 10 different colors and like have these like I want believable but not like I don't want like, oh man, those clouds are like super awesome. They're the best thing of your layout. That's not my, I want everything else to be the best, not my clouds. I don't want, you know what I mean? Like there's some dudes that do some awesome clouds, like Jason Jensen. His clouds look amazing, but they're just too, for me, they're just too much work. I don't, yeah.
I guess that when you say too much work, what is too much work for a cloud?
10 hours, 12 hours.
You think it takes him that long?
I don't know. It looks like it. I mean, it's a lot of like little detail, and like again, like it's not it's not going to be a comfortable process for me because I'm working on the back of my backdrop, right? So it's not like you could sit there and like be comfortable at your chair and like
Well, now I'll argue with you a little bit
okay,
on that, just because you can absolutely get either a piece of paper or some cardboard and set it up right in front of your desk and practice
oh yeah,
before you go do anything on your layout. That's what I did because
right,
everything back here, began just sitting at a kitchen table and watching not model railroaders, but
right.
well, I'm not going to say not only model railroaders. I kind of began with model railroaders
Oh
and
yeah,
then looked into people who actually
Bob
do
Ross and
painting
Art.
tutorials because
Yeah,
that's what they do. And then I kind of blended the two together so that I'm not like what you're saying. I'm not trying to create the best,
yeah,
like art, but I'm
yeah.
also trying to make sure that what I'm doing for the railroad
Looks good.
looks good, right? Good
Yeah,
enough for me. And so,
good enough.
therefore, bouncing back and forth between professional techniques and just what works,
Right.
I found a good uh, area for me to kind of live in.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I just found somebody that looks pretty easy. Uh, obviously, everybody that's done something multiple times makes it look easy, right?
Right.
You know, so to me, it looks like it's going to be not too bad, you know. So I'm going to try it and see. And the good thing is, you don't like the way it looks, you wet a sponge and wipe it off. It's not like, in stone. The word bent also means incline. Really?
Hmm.
On with a rag and just added small amount of gray. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody remembers when I was painting this. I was terrified, but I
Right.
told myself before I
I don't remember.
began that it didn't matter because it wasn't ever going to be finished. And I I attempted a cloud and it looked like a sky whale. I haven't attempted another cloud since.
Really? Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember somewhat. Yeah. So you haven't done any clouds?
Well, no, but I also never really intended on doing clouds anyway, and
Okay.
the reason why is because the great John Allen mentioned one time in an article that if there was one thing that he would do over is he would not have put clouds on his
Right.
backdrop.
Yeah. So like, I think there's a line, right? And that line is you can overdo it or you could, underdo it. And I'd rather underdo it than overdo it. I don't want like 10 million clouds on my backdrop that's 8 feet long. You know, I mean, like, yeah, I mean,
Right,
yeah,
but I think the question, as I understood it, with that statement, clouds they're moving, they're
yeah,
in a constant state of change, and so anything you put on your railroad that should be at a constant state of change lends itself to, I don't know, a lack of credibility, maybe. Like even vehicles, you can put a vehicle stopped somewhere, parked in front of a
yeah,
building or whatever, and it's absolutely believable because it should be parked there. The second you put them on a highway, then the question is,
yeah.
does
Why are they
it
stopped?
take away
Yeah,
from the credibility of a living railroad? Now, in pictures, I don't think it does. If you're just taking photographs of the railroad, there's no concern there. But as you engage with the railroad in the 3D world operating, I guess that's just something that is going to be a personal taste kind of thing.
yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. Jason Jensen does paint. I don't know Dave Muir, but yeah, Jason's clouds look incredible. I mean, like they're like wow, but like I don't want that for my clouds.
Dave Meek I mean Dave Meek?
Meek?
I'm
I don't
not
know.
I'm not sure who Dave Meir is.
I don't know.
Lynn, are you talking about the Thunder Mesa Railroad? Because he definitely paints his backdrop has his backdrop has a, I don't know what the word is for it. It's not he's not impressionistic like most backdrop painting is. His are more like, when I see Dave's stuff, Dave Meek, I think of Wile E. Coyote and Warner Brothers cartoons, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean that's the style that he is, I think, going for and does very well on his backdrops.
Evo, hey Evo, what's up? He says FCS for moving cars. I don't know what that is, but I know like there are companies that have like cars that move on your layout, which is cool.
Yeah, I think I know what he's referring to. Uh, I think that there's some scenes that you could do that and do it well with. It's nothing that I would want to attempt on my railroad.
Yeah.
Because I think, I don't know. It is cool, but I just don't think it's anything I would want to do.
Yeah, it's kind of like Steve 87 says if you put vehicles on your road in Washington, most of them are stopped on the freeway anyway. Yeah.
Depends on where you're at. If I have to wait on a vehicle here to pull out on the highway, I get irritated.
Yeah.
A vehicle.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, like your era, right? Your era is a big indicator of.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of vehicles around in 1920 as opposed to 1920 or 1825. I mean,
if you watch, there's lots of video out there that has been colorized at least in the big cities of like 1930s and 1920. And there's a lot more vehicles. And what's cool about that is sometimes they're intermixed with horse-drawn carriages.
Yes, yeah, for sure in big cities. But where your railroad is,
probably not. Probably more horse. Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think I could do it either way and get away with it. But I think my layout needs to be in the late 30s in order for it to be somewhat accurate for the locomotives that are on the railroad.
So something that I don't recall for your layout, will you have like houses, random houses here and there on your layout?
Eventually, yeah. Like in, I'll for sure have some section houses, and then when I get to Cloud City, I'm hoping that kind of the blob that I will be able to hide the reverse loop
Uh-huh.
with town.
Okay.
And so whether or not what mix of houses versus businesses will be there, I'm not sure yet.
So, what about countryside? Will your train be traveling through countryside, and will there be a random farm?
I do have a farmhouse planned
Okay.
next to the Time Saver, just right of the corrals. I want
Right.
to put a farmhouse there. I think, the scenic run, which is Hell Gate, will only be mountainous countryside, which is kind of the whole point of the railroad, was be a mountain railroad more so than a prairie railroad. I
Yeah.
know that there is a big prairie aspect to narrow gauge in certain locations in both Colorado and New Mexico, but most guys don't model that when they do a narrow gauge because they're mountain railroads.
Yeah, sometimes there's an ant. Harley says sometimes there's no clouds in the sky. Yeah, sometimes there aren't clouds in the sky. Sometimes it's all fog, like especially now. Like you can't see nothing. Like, yeah. Yeah, I mean so like I'm don't get me wrong, I'm perfectly content with this with my blue background right now. But I like clouds and I would like to try them, and if it doesn't work, then I just wipe them off.
Yeah.
Trust me, if I don't like how it looks, you know, I'm like done.
Well,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
didn't you say at the beginning of the program, as
yes,
if you fail,
yes,
don't give up?
yes. But sometimes you got to know when to hold them. Sometimes you got to know when to fold them. That's what I say all the time. You got to know when to fold them.
Yeah. Well,
And yeah,
and I think more importantly than that is it's a matter of how much it's worth to you,
yeah.
right?
How much is it worth?
If it's not worth to you going through the
Yeah,
pain of learning how to do something, you're just not going to. But if it's very important to you, you
yeah.
will go through the pain and
So
the
it's
learning
like, yeah,
process.
I'm not willing to go through the pain for that 3D printer, but I'm willing to go through the pain for this, right? Uh,
Right.
because the pain for the car isn't as bad as the pain for that because there's a lot of wasted effort there. Can be, right? It
Yeah,
is.
because if you don't know what you're doing, you end up
Yeah,
wasting a lot of material and time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Certain things, there's no wrong to weathering, right? But there's right and wrong to that, right? There's maybe no right to wrong to clouds either, but if they don't look good, then I'm done. Like it's like, you know, I'll give it so much effort, and then after that, I was like, I'm just not meant to do clouds, and I'll be happy, and I'm happy with the blue background. So, yeah, and I found a decent backdrop that's inexpensive, and I'm cutting out scenes from the backdrop. That I'm cutting 90% of the backdrop away and just using the scene instead of the blue, and
Right.
it really looks nice. I mean, I like it. Perspective wise, it works for me. So it's like, you know, yeah,
That's my plan too, is to like with what's behind the time saver right now, I plan on cutting out
yeah,
all of the sky and using my own sky blue.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it works. I mean,
Yeah. The only issue will be blending what blue I can't cut out of that backdrop into what is there. So
I'm going to look that railroad up, Steve. Stop.
I know there's also a railroad out there that everything is black and white, which is pretty cool. Have you seen that?
A modeler? Really? No.
Yeah. Yeah, he's modeling everything in tones of gray, black, just like you engage. His era is, horse and buggy era. And so all of the pictures that he's using as reference for his railroad are black and white. And he said, why don't I just make the railroad in black and white, since that's what he's done. It's pretty cool.
So
yeah, I can't think of what it's called though.
What about like grass and trees and stuff?
Black and white. Just like he's trying to recreate the photos in 3D.
Yeah. So there's a dude that comes in here. I can't remember his channel. He's got an odd name. I can't remember. He's from Florida, and he does a railroad in his closet, and it's nighttime. It's black. There's just silhouettes of trees on his wall, and he runs it at nighttime. Like, it's in his closet. He just turns some special purple lights on or something.
Yeah, he was in either last week or the week before. I wouldn't check his channel out. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. It's different, right? This is different, right? It's like it's outside of the box. It's outside of the normal. What's normal? Right? What's normal? There's no normal. It's how you perceive things, right? But yeah, it's just cool. So black and white. How easy is that, man? Paint your grass gray, black.
I would say it might be a little more challenging than you think, especially if you want to get the subtleties between black and white and do it in a way that matches the picture. I think there would be a lot more difficulty there than you might expect. I don't know.
Kind of like those people that do pencils, like pencil art. Like, I used to have a friend of mine. She did dots, and I had a friend did that. Right, but it looked so real. It looked like, granted there was no color like blues, greens, but she got some incredible.
Yeah, the eye perceives the space between the dots as gray.
Yeah, it fills everything in, right? Yeah. So it's all. But that's all good. So again,
did you do that in your sleeper, Roy, or is this like in your basement? You're gonna have did you put a video on that, Roy, or working on a video for that? I'd like to see.
How do they stay together? How does the track?
Well, if you do it well, you actually don't. If you wire every piece of track, you wouldn't technically need rail joiners if the track is laid well and you believe that it won't move over time. I think I've got one siding here going to McCarville bulk oil. I don't have any rail joiners on it.
Why don't you post some video of it on your channel there, Rory? No show next Saturday, folks.
Yep. I will be eating breakfast with the extended family.
Yes.
And Claude will still be floating around, probably drinking way too much.
And then Claude comes back the following Saturday?
I believe so. Well, I can't remember if he's gone 2 weeks or if he's gone 3. I'm sure we'll find out eventually.
Yeah, maybe it's 3. Yeah, so 2 weeks from today, we'll be back, right?
Yeah, we should.
Should. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just do what you always do. Look for a link or a
if you see a link, we'll be on. If you don't see a link, we're not going to be on.
Well, I guess that's our show for the day.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, sure appreciate everyone stopping in, saying hi, and we will see you Not next week, but probably the week after.
Yeah. Have a good week, everybody. Thanks. Do modeling.